Welcome back to season 2 of the Pregnant Bitches podcast.
I'm Jessie.
And I'm Amanda.
And we're just a couple pregnant bitches navigating motherhood together.
Welcome back to season 2 of Pregnant Bitches.
Woo-hoo!
We're here.
We did it.
Here we go.
And I'm not pregnant.
And Jessie is not pregnant. And everyone's so excited to hear what happened. So
oh my God.
Let's dive into it. Let's talk about your labor and delivery.
Oh my God, your favorite. Oh my God, it was wild. First of all, I went to 40 weeks.
I can't
Shoot me
that.
in the face.
I cannot believe that. Second kid, they usually say second one comes earlier, flies out earlier. So let's hear all about it.
So I'm realizing the second one, I think, flies out earlier, but doesn't necessarily come earlier. 40 weeks is hard.
I can't believe you did that.
It's really hard. I hated it. I really power to all the moms that go 40 weeks, 41 weeks. They were going to induce me at 10 days past my due date. I looked at her and I was like, are you nuts?
Yeah, I can't believe
that.
That's
what's like you should want to go to 40 weeks. I'm like, girl, nobody wants to go to 40 weeks.
I cannot believe that. And everyone's dying to know. And we went with the midwife.
Yeah, the midwife was amazing. So
let's get into it.
Okay, so basically I'm bouncing at Sky Zone with Ziggy because I'm nuts doing handstands.
Trying to get this baby out.
And so then I start leaking everywhere and I'm like, oh my God, my water broke. So I go to the midwife. If I was with Sinai OB, I would have probably had to go to triage, wait,
and they might have sent you home.
So fast. Call the girl. She's like, come meet me at the clinic. I'm going to test. I guess if your amniotic sac breaks, it's a special pH level, whatever. So she's like, no, you're not in labor. It's not your water. It's just other goop.
Maybe you peed.
Great. But then she's like, she did the stretch and sweep thing.
At 40 weeks.
Yeah, literally my due date was the day before, so at 40 weeks. And then she was like, okay, let's see what happens. Start cramping that night. But up until this point, I'd been cramping every night before bed. Cramp, wake up the next morning, still pregnant.
But
cramp,
not excruciating.
No, not excruciating.
Cramps,
just
a
crampy
light period cramp.
So it was getting ready, warming me up for the big show.
All right. It is a big show. I heard it's the hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
Well, it is the hardest thing ever.
Yeah, it was fun. So then, okay, 8 o'clock rolls around. I'm like, these are contractions. Josh is out. I'm like, come home. He's like, I'm at an event. I'm like, you should come home.
Get the fuck home. I'm about to have your second baby.
No. And then, okay, 11 o'clock rolls around. They're 3 minutes apart now. I'm like, we're ready to rock. Ziggy wakes up. I have to poo. I'm like, really? Right now?
Contractions.
And so in between contractions, I'm like, and then I'm like, hey, get on the toilet. In between, I'm like, fuck, this is so painful. And then I was like, okay, you need to go to bed. We need to go to the hospital now because I don't want to be in the car dilating at 10 centimeters.
No.
Get me far away. I guess not the hospital. So
the birth center. Let's talk about the birth center, what it was all about. Before you get into it, let's what it looked like.
Okay, so the birth center, I didn't realize this, only has 3 rooms.
Okay.
So you could potentially go into labor and there's no room for you.
So where would you deliver the baby?
Then you go to the hospital.
Then you go, okay.
Anyway, it was 1 a.m, so they had room for us. We were the only ones there. But it's beautiful. They have a waiting area. If you had an older kid, they'd have a thing for them to play in.
Because you could bring your whole family.
Yeah, you could bring your whole family. They can wait in the waiting room. But it's a WeWork space. The midwife, it's the midwife signs up for their room with their patient.
Hilarious.
You can't go in without your midwife.
Right.
There's no, it's not a hospital that you could just wait around.
Right.
So the midwife has to check you in and also check you out.
Right.
You can't hang around after.
Go home.
Yeah, go home. Get the fuck out of here.
Go home now.
So we get there and they're so cute. They're like, Josh, would you like us to put a pot of coffee on for you?
I can't.
I was like, what is this?
I'm the one about to deliver a baby, but sure, yeah, make my husband a coffee.
So he's setting up his candles and getting the music going. And my midwife checks me. She's like, you're already 7 centimeters. I'm like, fuck yes.
Were you dying? I feel like people want to know, were you 7 centimeters? You're really far along. Were you
No, it was painful, but I was I was breathing through it,
you
vibing
did your breathing
with it.
exercises.
I did my breathing. So, okay, 7 centimeters, breathing through it, get in the tub. I'm like, this is going to be so easy. He's going to, or she's going to, I didn't know at the time, going to come flying out, ready to rock and roll. So at 1 a.m., I'm 7 centimeters. At 4 a.m., I'm contracting. Now it's now
it's
it's getting
hurting.
real. Like, what does a contraction feel like? Death.
Let's just cut Jessie off for a second. She did not have an epidural.
It's not an option.
It's not an option. Let's just talk about it one more time. Jessie did not have an epidural.
It was primal.
You're insane. You're an actual insane person.
It was fucked.
But you did it. Continue. Sorry.
So I'm literally, they have a shower, which was great. I'm standing in the shower, like I'm like literally like this, the thing's on the back. Unlike when you have the epidural,
right,
your husband or partner has to work with you. Like every contraction, I like needed him to like push on my back to like, I don't know, the counter pressure like helped.
Right.
So he was like, couldn't go, like when I had Ziggy, he was like getting snacks and chilling.
He was in it. He was in labor with
me. And then like I'm standing in the shower soaking wet. He's soaking wet. 3 hours of this, I'm like, I felt bad for the building. Like I had a 5-hour shower. Like there's no hot water left. She checks me. She's like, you're barely 8 centimeters. I'm
that
like,
whole time.
Fuck me. I'm like, 8 what? And I'm like crying because I'm like, this is so hard. Like it was so hard. I was exhausted. She's like, okay, I'm going to break your water. It still hadn't broken. I'm like, what the fuck is going on in there?
So at 7, they broke your water.
Like 8.
They broke your water.
It
laying
was
down, standing up.
No, laying down. Like you lie down and they like take like a pinprick and they like.
And they break
it's
it.
the craziest feeling. It's like.
It's a gush of water.
Like a real gush.
Absolutely disgusting.
Crazy. Then as I get up, projectile vomit everywhere. I don't know why.
Because the pain was so intense
all
and your
over
body
the
was
bathtub.
like working.
At least it wasn't on anyone. So then I go back in the shower. It was like literally primal. Like I'm like in like what you think you see in the movies is what it was. Like I have a video I'll try and show later. Oh. And so then she checks me again. It's like 5 a.m. now. I'm like, it's like 6 hours of fucking contractions.
That's a lot.
And I'm like in my head thinking I'm gonna like rock and roll and do this. Right. No. She's like, you're still not even 10 centimeters. I'm like, are you kidding me?
So what do they tell you? Do they put you in positions at that point to move you
was
around?
Like,
well, you did the bath, you did the shower.
All of it. And then she was like, maybe we should consider going to the hospital. I was like, what? She's like, well, maybe like you need an epidural. And I'm like, well, can they have it ready and waiting for me? She's
epidural like, at the hospital waiting.
Like, can they pre-reserve it? She's like, no. That's not a thing. She's like, you're going to get in your car. You're going to drive there. You're going to go to triage. Car, yeah. She's like, if we do this, you're going to have your baby in the car. I'm like, fuck that. Get that baby out now. So she's like, okay, I'm going to move some stuff around. She's like, sticks her hand up there.
She went in there.
Moves the cervix out of the way. Didn't even know that was a thing.
She moved.
Moves it away.
And you felt everything. Like her hands there, everything.
Everything. At this point, I'm like, literally like, like any noise you can think of.
Now you were in the movies because like you remember we were talking about how epidural, like it's not like the movies, like you're not screaming, like whatever.
Epidural is like a vacation. Yes. Like you're literally just like sitting there relaxing. This is like running a triathlon.
You're going, ah.
And then she's like, okay, we're ready to start pushing. I couldn't push this way. So I'm literally on all fours.
Okay.
Like this. My butt is in her face.
I can't.
And I'm literally shitting.
So you shat in her face?
Everywhere.
You shat in the midwife's face.
Like I felt so bad. And then I'm like, I think I'm pooey. She's like, you are. And I was like, and then
you were like a dog. You were literally. You were in doggy style pooing on your midwife.
Afterwards, Josh is like, he's like, like I felt.
I can't.
I felt so bad.
Like that should have been recorded.
At this point, you're just like, I don't give a fuck.
You're like, get this fucking thing out of me. I don't care what I do.
Remarkably, contractions while pushing is a lot easier. Like you have like something to do.
It makes sense.
Like your contraction comes and you push with the contraction.
And that's your goal.
It almost like counter.
Because it's your goal. You're like, hey, like a contraction comes, I'm going to push. It's going to be painful, but like it's the next step to this thing coming
out. But for whatever reason, I thought that without an epidural, the pushing was going to be so much easier. It wasn't. It was way harder because you're exhausted from the contractions.
Yeah. And
at least when you get the epidural, you're contracting the whole time, but you're like resting.
The nurses are also telling you like, okay, now it's here. They see it on the screen. Right. Go. Like you're not connected to anything.
No, but she was really good. Like she was checking the heartbeat the whole time. Like if anyone's nervous about doing it at a birth center, like they are on it. Like your midwife knows. Like every 10 minutes, checking the heartbeat. Like I was in the shower and she'd like bring the buggy thing over and make sure it was like on the side. And then so I'm pushing for like 40 minutes. It's hard, but it's like getting better. And then at the very end, she flips me on my back and she's like, okay, it's coming. The head, I feel it. This ring of fire thing they talk about. It's,
because you wouldn't feel it with an epidural.
No, it's real. It's like a burning, crazy sensation.
Because your vagina is opening up to like a fucking watermelon and you go,
And this is what you said too. She was like, push, push, stop. Push, push, stop.
I feel like that's a new thing now.
So like like when you're pushing to get it down,
right?
It's like, like literally and then screaming.
Right when the head is out.
Right when the head's out, it's like,
push, push, stop. Because they don't want you to rip.
And guess what?
You didn't
Not
rip.
one stitch.
There you go.
And guess how big the baby was? 8'6".
There you go.
Huge fucking baby, not one stitch.
Push, push, stop. That should be like the new push, push, stop.
And like, okay, I delivered him on my back.
Right.
Which like, you know, you read all the things.
Right.
It's like not that great. I do think that for like 1 minute, like it was
at the end,
40 minutes of like on all
you're
fours
tired.
and 1 minute on my back.
But you're tired. Like you, like at the end. You're
but like, because I feel like she could really like
feel everything there.
Like her hand was literally up my
your vagina
for hours.
Wow.
Hours.
So you got fisted.
Yeah. Would I recommend it?
How would you compare last pregnancy and hospital delivery and all that versus this delivery? So not pregnancy, delivery.
Yeah, delivery.
First delivery versus second delivery. No epidural. Epidural at the hospital. No epidural at a birthing center.
Now knowing the two options, like it's a much more empowering experience to do at the birth center.
Right.
Like everyone was like, why did you do it? I'm like, I had to know.
Well,
I wanted to fucking know. Like I didn't want to go throughout my whole life not knowing.
That is so fair.
I feel really bad for people in parts of the world that don't have an epidural.
So would you do it again? I feel like everyone here wants to know, would you do it again? Would you do it without an epidural and do the midwife and
yes to midwife no matter what.
Bring the midwife to the hospital.
Yes. I think I would probably do midwife at the hospital.
Okay.
Just because then you have the option of the epidural. Mm-hmm. But because I did midwife at the birth center, it forced me to I would have caved.
You would have done an epidural.
I think I would have.
Okay. Because I feel like that's what people want to know.
When she told me at 8 centimeters that I'd been contracting for 3 hours and I didn't progress at all, I would have been like, give me the epidural.
So there you go.
But because I was forced to do it, I had no other choice but to do it. And I'm like really proud of myself now that I did. So
we're all proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I think you're an absolute insane person. But I love to hear that if you had the choice, you would have picked the epidural.
Yeah, probably. In the moment, it's really fucking painful. Like last time when I got contractions up until dilating till 10, I was like, okay, like this is like painful, but like manageable, but it's like really excruciating and I'm barfing from the pain and it's bad. This was like fucked. Yeah. Like actually fucked. Like I was like, is this ever gonna end? I'm like, this is torture. This is actually torture.
So epidural.
So if you don't want to investigate for yourself, I recommend that.
Epidural, when you find out you're pregnant, epidural.
No, the contractions, it's that birthing a human like without pain meds is fucked. But I will say the recovery was insane. Literally, baby comes out on my chest.
I know. I saw you 6 hours after you delivered the baby, which was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So then they put it on the chest, do the breastfeeding, latch at the hospital, blah, 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 all the regular stuff that you would do. They do the tests, same thing as the hospital. She's like, I want to see you pee. Deliver the baby at 6 a.m.
Right.
By 7 a.m., she's like, I want to see you pee. Oh, other benefit of the birth center. You know how you have like a dinky hospital bed that's like one thing? It's a double bed. So Josh is lying beside me. I'm lying there.
You can relax after the whole
chilling.
Thing. Is she there watching you guys cuddle?
Yeah. Oh, the best was at one point.
As I'm if she was watching you guys cuddle.
I'm contracting, Josh was like, why don't you go lie down and rest? I'm like, I can't
rest. I'm like in so much pain.
Like, no. And then she's like, okay, I want to see you pee. So I walk up and I go pee.
I feel like that's the biggest bonus.
Insane.
You don't have drugs in you.
Nothing.
even seeing you after at your house, I was like, did you just birth a baby? Because like you were walking, you were good. You didn't have any drugs in you.
No, it's like you have a drug hangover. Like that first 5 days after I gave birth the first time
I
and
agree.
you feel it.
I agree.
It's like a hangover of like crap. Like my leg was like still feeling the epidural. Like I
Swollen.
thought I was. It's yeah.
So you got the pros of not doing anything with the drugs where your recovery seemed a lot better.
Yeah. And then they literally kick you out. At 8 a.m., she was like, okay, bye.
Go home.
So at 8:30, we're at home and we're calling people and they're like, oh, are you at the hospital? We're like, no, we're literally at home in our bed. Like, they're like, what?
Yeah.
My sister-in-law came to bring us treats at the thing and they're like,
you
they're
weren't
gone.
even there.
She's
So
like,
it was
oh.
amazing. So the post, amazing. And then
insane.
Let's talk about the midwife after. So you came home and then the midwife comes to you.
Yeah. So the day you come home, you're like at home. You sleep in your own bed that night. That's was
so nice. Fuck.
This is like, I'm sorry, Josh, but this was funny. We come home. I'm like tired, but like fine. And he's like, I really need to sleep.
Like he was.
So he slept in my son's like race car bed and me and the baby slept in our room.
Oh.
I'm like, you know what? You're better off being
he
rested.
was in it.
No, he didn't sleep all night either.
No.
It was a full, like 1 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Right. But you birthed the baby out, but it's fine.
Yeah. And then the midwife comes the next morning.
Amazing. So the midwife comes the next morning. And then when is the next checkup? So I feel
Saturday,
like
3.
I want to know and people want to know. So at the hospital, they do like the hearing check and this check and then that check. They give you all the forms. But if you're not doing it at a hospital, what is the next process?
So like they check you and the baby the day after. They also weigh the baby the day after. She's like, there's no.
At your house.
At your house.
Okay.
And then they bring like a little scale.
Right.
And then they do all the blood tests that they do on like the little on the feet. They do that at your house.
At your house.
They do
full stop shop.
Yeah, they do everything. The only thing they don't do is the hearing test. And you have to book that at like a clinic near you. You just like go online, put your postal code and it's like
that's
nothing.
Fine.
You take them up until a month.
Okay.
You have up until a month. So at 3 weeks when you're like not feeling like gross and like shit.
You can go and do it.
You can go and
Amazing.
you're like on your feet.
And you did it.
And it's so easy. And
amazing.
It takes 2 seconds. And then they're checking you. Like they're doing all the like uterine checks, like pushing everything. Giving me tons of tips, and she's helping me with breastfeeding.
I love that.
Like my boobs were fucked. That.
And she was helping you
and
with
she was
it.
like, do this latch and do that latch. And then she's like, you know what? This doesn't look good. Your boobs are all fucked. Prescribing you a cream and like prescribe me something great. And then she booked me in with a lactation consultant at the clinic.
She did all of that.
She did all of that.
You know what?
It was like a concierge
Yeah,
service.
I was going to say it's like a one-stop shop for everything. And I really want to know because my biggest thing was that 6-week fucking checkup.
Oh my God.
Is that you're in it. You're 6 weeks.
Yes.
We're 6 weeks.
Yes.
So what is the 6-week checkup with the midwife?
So it's, you actually I've had like 4 appointments.
Okay.
Since.
Right.
So it's like not even like the 6-week doesn't have the 6 week is like my discharge appointment.
Right.
It's like the end versus like
so
in the
nice.
OB experience, that's like your first check-in with them.
That is the only
This
check-in.
is the last like goodbye, nice to see you, have a good life because they've checked me 9 times. Like literally I've had the day after, 3 days after, 1 week after, 2 weeks after, 4 weeks after. So like,
and they check the baby.
They check the baby. They weigh the baby. They check everything.
I love that.
The lactation consulting company, it was called Breast Intentions.
Okay.
Great company.
Okay.
Their main doctor is a pediatrician.
I love that.
So she's also checking him. Like,
right.
Because Josh was like, we're not going to the pediatrician. I'm like, we don't need to. Like, he's been checked 9 times.
I really like that. So,
like, remember the first time you have to schlep your baby, your 3-day-old baby
I
in a
know.
car,
I had to schlep both
back.
my kids with me for it was a nightmare.
Annoying.
It's such a nightmare. I really like that.
Like,
but
healing.
as you were saying, I could get a midwife at the hospital, do my epidural, and then still have all the things after.
Like
that's what we learned from this.
That is what you should do. If you want a hospital birth because you're scared or you're like nervous, but
get a midwife.
Get a midwife and deliver. And what you do is you find pick the hospital you want to deliver at
Right.
and then find the midwife that has privileges. That's what I did.
At that
I
hospital.
wanted to deliver at Sinai
Right.
originally or have the option. So I
Right.
found the midwife that had privileges at Sinai.
I love this.
Easy.
No one knew about this,
don't know,
talked about it,
like
anything. I didn't even know. Remember, like, you telling Adam, like, I'm home, and he was like, "What do you mean you're home?"
Yeah, you met my baby 6 hours old.
He was so fucking
So little.
cute. Oh, little and cute and fresh.
But I said to my midwife, I'm like, you guys need better branding. I'm like, midwife sounds like shit. Like, what is a midwife? Like, why don't you say, like,
it.
you
Sounds like old school.
Yeah, like sounds
I
like
just
my
see them,
grandma.
like, in little outfits, like I don't know.
Like Handmaid's Tale, like I don't
Handmaid's Tale. That's what I see. Like those like Handmaid's Tale, white coat, red.
It's not a good name.
But like they're cool.
Yeah, they're like all hip.
Do you think I should be a midwife?
Yeah. Well,
no.
You want to shove your hand up my
really
vagina all day?
Honestly, I'd be okay with the whole vagina part, but like the shitting in the face situation, I don't need ass in my face.
No. Like I literally was on. I will post the video. It's like a fast forwarded one. There's nothing goopy and gory in it.
We won't see Jessie's vagina.
But you can see what I mean by like my butt was in her face.
Oh, you want to show everyone your butt?
No, don't worry. It's all covered. But I can show some behind the scenes.
Yes, I feel like I want to see it, and I feel like people want to see it. And wow.
You got it.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy.
Wow.
We talked a lot about me, so I want to circle back to something because last season we talked about you in the NICU.
Yes.
And someone actually asked me after, they were like, Amanda just like briefly touched on it, but she never really like told us about her story about that, like missing that first skin to skin. Like I've had it now both times. Like they bring the baby out and it's like, okay, it's not the most emotional necessarily, but you have that instant bond and like you didn't.
Okay, let's talk about it.
So like tell us like what happens like when
as soon as Arlo was born and he came out, they put him on me. So I had the initial like him on me, but it was for
like 3 seconds.
Maybe 30 seconds. Because as soon as he was on me, I wouldn't know because I'm bawling my eyes out. Adam's bawling his eyes out. Literally, that man does not cry. And I'm looking at him. I was like, wow, it's so nice to see you cry. It's really nice. And then he started making sound. So, but it was very fast. Like in the moment, I didn't think it was that fast.
Right.
Like after you just birthed the baby, you're like,
you're out of it.
I was hungry. Don't forget, I was so fucking hungry. I was like, baby,
snacks,
food. So he was on me, and all of a sudden we heard like, like you heard it right away. And Adam kind of looked like
what is this?
Dr. Adam was like, something's wrong. And right away they rushed in. They took him from me. They were checking. They're like, he's a grunter. He's going into the NICU. They take him out of the room, and Adam goes rushing out. And I'm kind of just sitting there with the nurse being like, the actual fuck just happened the last how many hours? Plus, like they just took my baby away. So it was very, very weird. And now like looking back, it was like a mishmash. And then Adam comes back. He goes, okay, they're taking him upstairs into the NICU. We're going to get you ready. And like, we can go upstairs to see the baby. So that was the only, I want to say I had 20, 30 seconds.
And then he was gone.
And then he was gone into the NICU, into the incubator. They wheeled Arlo in this incubator. I think that was the most fucked up to see.
Yeah, because they look sick like that.
Yeah, they look very sick like that. And I feel like it was better when I went up to see him in the incubator and I knew what was going on. But when they wheeled him into the hospital room, like where I just gave birth, in this incubator with like 2 doctors, 4 nurses on top of him, they're like, and they were like, "Do you want to say goodbye until you go upstairs?" And I was like, "Bye." Like it was really fucked up. I feel like that was really fucked up. And then I got ready, and then
that's insane.
No, I didn't see the baby right away because they put you like, we got a private room that we'd never slept in. So like we went up because they kick you out of the labor room.
Because they need it.
They need it.
Right.
So
there's like
you gotta
someone
go upstairs,
behind you.
Then you're in the recovery room, no baby.
That's really fucked.
And you see the little bed that they're ready for you. It's empty. And then they're like, okay, get your shit together. They first check you. They give me drugs right away. It's like I'm still coming off of drugs.
Right.
Like I still did the whole thing.
Yeah,
so you can't just walk right away.
No.
So and once I was able to walk, then we went upstairs, finally saw him in this incubator, lights on, everything. And you can only really put your hand in.
Right. It's like the little baby.
But it's really not a pleasant sight for sure, especially as a first-time mom, not knowing anything. It was not pleasant.
How did you like start with breastfeeding and latching?
So you do it there. They take out the baby from the incubator right away and they put the baby on you and they like you're sitting in this hospital bed, legs not hospital bed, sorry, a chair, legs up, and that's how you're breastfeeding.
Oh,
with
that's that
cords
picture
everywhere.
of you with the ice
I have
packs.
ice packs. I was in so much pain. Then the baby's there. And
Can
I
he
don't think
feed?
Adam did not hold Arlo for hours after that because I was the only one who held him while I was
try and
breastfeeding.
feed,
And then
and then
as
they
soon
put
as
him back.
breastfeeding, the nurse has to, like, he had cords all over him. They have to
Oh,
put him
God.
back. So I feel like Adam didn't hold him maybe until the next day. I feel like Adam didn't hold him
Wow.
at all until the next day at all. Like wasn't able to
crazy.
hold him. But we were there for 5 days. Every day got better, obviously. Then they took one cord off. It was easier to hold, but that was the only way I knew how to hold him with all these cords. So it was
you were
so
like,
nice to like take him out
oh
of
my
the
God.
cords. And then we had to stay there one day without all cords. He was in the bassinet like you guys
like
did.
your first, like it would have
like
been
your first
day.
visit. But then you go home without a baby, which is
That's
also a mind
insane.
fuck. Like, because you're not sleeping at the hospital. There's nothing, like, he's so
There's
little.
nothing
You
to
can,
do.
sorry, you have the option to sleep there, but I was so
Why would
exhausted. I'm
you?
like, what am I gonna do? So whatever I gave the colostrum, they kept some colostrum, and
Were they giving him formula at all?
they gave him formula, I think, day 2. So I think the first day I
Had
pumped enough whatever colostrum
they
they
eat
needed,
so
and
little.
then right away he was on colostrum and formula from day 1. And that
That's
was
insane.
the NICU, but then I got to experience the whole newborn thing.
Yeah,
and
the
it's so
newborn's the
nice.
best.
I know.
The newborn is
But
like,
yeah,
you forget the newborn stage.
for sure.
That's a fucked up experience. Like I knew it, but I didn't know it to that extent. And I think like
It's fucked.
no,
it's
like
sad.
and some people have that. Like
And
it's
some
probably
people are there for months on end.
No,
if you deliver early,
yeah.
I feel for all the moms. I saw the NICU area with all the moms, and you're washing your pump and your parts, and it's like it's a whole other world.
Someone
and
I know
feel,
met their baby in the parking lot of the hospital.
Yeah.
Because she never got to go because the baby was in the NICU and then she got sick and and she had to like it was not.
Yeah.
It's a crazy experience.
We go through crazy fucking shit.
Wow.
But he's a healthy 2-year-old kid
that likes fish.
We just had to buy him a fish. So, but we're here. If you ever have any questions about the NICU, the midwife, honestly, anything, just ask. Like, we would love to tell you. And
I know.
Yeah. So newborn stage and pelvic floor. Should we start with pelvic floor? I kind of wanted to touch on
I'm starting to like feel, again, this goes back to the lack of drugs. I feel good. And I didn't have stitches. That's fucking huge.
It's huge.
The burning and all that stuff, like not that you can sign up for no stitches, but like it makes a big difference. And then I also think my pelvic floor is a lot healthier this time because think about pushing for 2 hours on your back, not knowing how your body feels.
Whereas you don't know,
you don't know what's uncomfortable or not. Versus this time around, everything that felt bad for me, I stopped doing it. Like she had me pushing in a position like on the edge of a chair on like a squatty potty like this. And I was like, I don't like that. Like it doesn't feel good. And I feel like maybe that saved my
I think so. Also, I feel like
floor.
I don't know. I didn't do it, but with that epidural, you're frozen like
here
you're down. Whereas like you would know, I feel like I have a lot of pain, like maybe from the epidural, but also from pushing on my backbone.
Right.
Whereas like you could feel that.
And it wasn't uncomfortable. So yeah. So I think it made a big difference. So I started doing like, that Bounce Forward program. She has like a gentle like core exercise. So I've been doing that for like the early part of it.
Amazing.
And now I'm like ready to get back into like, working out again. But I want to like definitely do the pelvic floor. Like last time I did it at this place called Vital Physiotherapy. It was good. But again, it's very strange. Like another hand up your vagina, checking all. She's like, she sticks it up there and then she's like, okay, you're a 4 out of 5. Like that's bad. You want to be like a 1 out of 5.
I can't.
Or like a 5. Whatever the
I
order.
kind of wish like they would like, this sounds like what she's fisting you, but like a camera up there so you can kind of see what she's talking about.
No
because
idea.
when she's saying 4 out of 5, you're like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Basically, yeah. She's just, and then like, it's just like working. It's really just like breathing like, and like clenching it and like trying to like strengthen it and pull it back up. But
well, then you're not going to pee 10,000 times like I do after kids. Like I feel like I pee. A lot of women after giving birth pee when they're doing jumping jacks or running. I don't have that problem. I just pee constantly.
But all of that is not normal. Like it's
No, it's not.
It's common.
Right. But it's not
because
normal.
everybody doesn't do it properly, but it's not normal.
Right.
That's the one piece of the pie that like it really, when you're giving birth, like it should be the last part of your birth. Like it should be done. But
okay, newborn stage. Can you give us some tips for having a newborn? He is 6 weeks now, and isn't newborn technically end at like 8 weeks?
I don't even know actually, but yeah, I honestly, it's been real. It's been a time.
Yeah,
lot of sleepless nights, but you know what? You get the hang of it. You start to remember. You start to get back in it. I would say like I've remembered a couple tips for myself is like tummy time on the chest totally counts
for sure.
Like if they can lift their head and practice like strengthening, it makes a big deal. I've really had to like lean into like trusting my gut. Like there's a lot of people that want to give you advice and tips and all this stuff. And oh, your kid must be this or it must be that. Or, I'm like, no, like you gotta trust your gut. And like I've really said like no to visitors this time, especially. I mean, I've said yes to visitors if they want to help with my older kid, but like coming and holding my baby and it's a lot. And like, a lot of people say like, don't rock your baby or feed your baby to sleep. Do it. That's the best thing that you can do.
And it's the only time you're going to do it because there will be a time, I always read this and think about it because now our toddlers are a little bit older. Like there's going to be a time where you're not lifting that kid anymore.
I know.
And that makes me really sad.
I know. And then the other tip that my doctor gave me was if you don't give them the pacifier in the first week. Because if they're doing the sucking thing, that means they want to eat. Like after a couple weeks, you can give it to them. So we haven't given the pacifier, but now it backfired because now he doesn't like the pacifier.
Right.
And he's like gagging on it.
I'm can't. Like, what? Honestly, if I could use a pacifier, I would. That was weird. I don't know. That was weird. I don't know where I got that. Okay. Biggest question there is to end off episode 1 of season 2. When the fuck are we going partying?
Oh my God.
Because I was pregnant, then you were pregnant. Like I'm fucking ready. Let's go.
We need a drink.
Let's go drink.
Done.
Tonight.
Okay.
Let's go.
Done. Love it. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you. We're back.
And we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.